Iran's IRGC says it unleashed another major barrage in Wave 55, using ultra-heavy missiles and drones as part of Operation True Promise 4. Missiles such as Fattah, Emad, and Ghadr were used against Israeli aerospace infrastructure and the vicinity of Ben Gurion Airport. After the shock of Iran's reported first Sejjil launch in Wave 54, the next wave brought fresh sirens and disruption across Jerusalem, northern Israel, and other parts. Iran's latest attack after the Sejjil wave left more civilians hurt and homes damaged, with cluster munition-related impacts in central Israel. Cluster-type munitions caused fear and damage across central Israeli cities, with Shoham, Rishon Lezion, Lod, and Ness Ziona among sites hit. From the skies over the Tel Aviv area to US facilities in Bahrain, Tehran hints every area remains within range of its campaign. After Iran's reported first use of the Sejjil missile in Wave 54 of Operation True Promise 4, the next wave of attacks brought fresh alerts and disruption across Jerusalem, northern Israel, and central parts of the country. Fragments from an Iranian missile hit multiple sites in central Israel on March 16, with reports saying debris fell near Tel Aviv after interceptions during the latest barrage. According to Al Jazeera, citing Israel's Channel 12, missile fragments fell in Shoham, Rishon Lezion, Lod, and Ness Ziona near Tel Aviv during the latest wave of attacks. Israeli medics said a woman was lightly injured as a result of the missile attack, showing that even intercepted missiles and falling debris continue to pose risks to civilians. The Times of Israel separately reported that a woman in her 30s was hospitalized after suffering minor trauma injuries during the barrage. Several impact sites were reported across central Israel, with officials suspecting that some of the damage may have been caused by cluster-type munitions linked to the latest Iranian strike. Footage from central Israel showed visible damage to a home that was reportedly hit in the suspected cluster bomb attack, adding to the growing visual record of destruction from repeated missile salvos. Notably, similar Iranian attacks a day earlier had resulted in more than 100 injuries in Israel, underlining how dangerous these cluster-style strikes can become even when many missiles are intercepted. Sirens were heard across Tel Aviv as incoming attack warnings were activated again, sending residents toward shelters during the latest barrage. Sirens were also sounded in northern Israel, while an early warning alert was issued in Jerusalem, showing how widely the latest Iranian attack was felt across the country. These latest attacks across Israel were reported after Iran claimed it had launched Wave 55 of Operation True Promise 4, continuing the pattern of near-constant retaliatory strikes. The IRGC said in its statement that its forces were targeting Israeli and US military-related facilities, although that remains Iran's own claim about the intended objectives of the strike. According to the IRGC-linked account cited in reporting, the targets included areas around Tel Aviv and Ben Gurion Airport, as well as infrastructure connected to aerial refueling operations that support Israeli and Allied air missions. Iran also claimed that aerospace weapons production centers were in its crosshairs, including facilities linked to Israel Aerospace Industries, although these target descriptions come from Iranian statements and are not independently verified in the cited reporting. Iran said it used what it described as ultra-heavy and precision missiles in the latest wave, including Fattah, Emad, and Ghadr missiles, alongside attack drones launched as part of the same operation. Those systems are among the more advanced weapons repeatedly highlighted in Iranian military messaging during the war, with Emad and Ghadr also appearing in earlier IRGC statements about previous waves of attacks. In the same statement, Iran said US military facilities were also targeted, specifically naming Naval Support Activity Bahrain in Jaffa and Sheikh Isa Air Base in Bahrain. The report also said Iran framed the operation as a wider regional message to Washington, warning that additional American military infrastructure and naval assets in the Gulf could remain potential targets. Iran used the Sejjil missile for the first time during Wave 54 of Operation True Promise 4, according to Iranian and international reporting, marking a significant escalation in the type of long-range weapons being introduced into the war. The Sejjil is a solid-fuel medium-range ballistic missile and is widely regarded as one of Iran's most advanced strategic weapons because of its range, launch readiness, and two-stage design. According to the IRGC, the 55th wave targeted Israeli command centers linked to air operations, with Tehran presenting the latest barrage as a strike on military coordination and support infrastructure. Iranian officials also claimed that the strikes were focused on military bases and defense industry facilities, although those descriptions of the targets come from Iranian statements and are not independently verified in the cited reports. The barrage was said to include several long-range ballistic missiles designed to strike deep inside Israel, showing Iran's continued emphasis on reaching strategic sites far beyond the immediate border region. Meanwhile, a senior UAE minister publicly condemned Iran's actions against Gulf neighbors as drone and missile attacks continued to affect multiple states across the region. The minister said Gulf Arab states have faced more than 2,000 missile and drone attacks since the war began, a figure that aligns with broader reporting showing extensive Iranian strikes across the Gulf during the conflict.
It's been pretty unprecedented what's happened, and almost unhinged, I would say, to have Iran lash out at the very people who've been calling for de-escalation, who've been calling for this war to never actually even start, which has really taken us by surprise. We've borne the brunt of most of the missiles and drone attacks, and it's really quite surprising for us that Iran has taken such an irrational path to fight the Gulf states and act in this quite unlawful, quite unacceptable manner. Quite the contrary. Our relationship with the US is a long-standing strategic partnership. It's a partnership that doesn't falter in moments of crisis, but has been built on decades of trust and mutual respect. We've been long-standing partners of the US, long-standing partners of Australia as well. And this doesn't deter us because we're also a resilient bunch, and we don't take to trying to being bullied around either.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.